Continuation. Central Committee meeting of Parliament on the draft National Ordnance Budget 2026. Court imposes 6-year sentence for supermarket robberies, enforces earlier 2-year term. Louis Mussington on the project has a total of 44 million. For high schools, SXM Daily News interview with Jocelyn Arnell, author of a book, New Moon for Kwashiba. From the island of St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for July 6, 2026. Continuation of the Central Committee meeting of Parliament on the draft National Ordnance Budget 2026 for Monday, July 6, 2026.
Chair, again, I'm asking. Last night, you mentioned we received it yesterday. Yes, if we're being technical, yes. But when the email came in, I was fast asleep, which was after 11 p.m., almost midnight. So therefore, it's impossible to have reviewed it. I saw it this morning. Now, again, 2 o'clock, an amended version of the report was sent. I didn't even notice. So how is it possible we are being asked to approve something that we haven't thoroughly checked? Is it normal? Do you believe it's good? Because you mentioned the taking off your hat to the Secretariat, which I do too take off my hat to them. But why are you putting the Secretariat under so much unnecessary pressure, whilst we could have gotten it, 24 hours be given to review it at minimum, and that we could have a fruitful discussion? Or is it the intention, which I'm getting the feeling, to just breeze through this entire process, don't ask too much questions, let's just move forward, because we have to please the government for their, I don't want to use the word incompetence, but lack of attentiveness, maybe. And for me, Madam Chair, it's very distasteful, because you mentioned you never experienced so much questions. I've never experienced a budget being handled in this manner, and I believe that, with all due respect, given your experience, you know better, and this is not the way we should be handling the people's business, especially when they have to do with the budget of Country St. Martin. I have reviewed a lot of the points that we brought forward as a faction in its entirety, and I've seen where most of the things come forward. Some things are missing, but it is humanly impossible to go through 300 pages in the time given. It's totally unrealistic, and I don't know if everybody else in here is cool with it. Maybe they had a meeting in the weekend and the coalition is cool with it, but I'm definitely not cool with it, and I hear the concerns from my MP colleague, La Cruz, as well. So I would like to know, through you, Madam Chair, how will we move forward with this, with the most recent document being received 2 o'clock, yet we are expected to make a decision here and now? Thank you.
Previously as well, we received the report yesterday. Today, the update was received. But I believe, seeing where we are now and seeing that this process has started, and we all have mentioned that we need to have a budget, and we can look at the past, but we are currently here. I believe, seeing the AI mentioned method that we are currently exploring, it is possible to look at, and that's what I did as well with our faction, to look at if the questions that we have asked, because at the end, it's human work that is being done, so that we can be proactive and look at the questions that every faction has asked, to put it in an AI document and see if it has been covered or not, or if you're seeing that something is missing, that you can make that clear. If needed, we can maybe adjourn. And again, what I am saying by this document, it's an important document, but we have to make sure that at this moment, what the idea of this meeting is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, through you, Madam Chair, is to make sure that the questions that we have posed, and we all know the questions that we all have posed, that those questions are reflected in the document that has been presented. And I believe, but maybe the AI specialist can specify that if you put it in a document, it can come out what is missing and what's not missing. And I'm not trying to be funny, because it's an important document, but what I'm trying to do is, at this moment, to be proactive so that you can move forward and get a budget approved or not. So that is where I'm at right now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Because at the end of the day, AI only gives you what you ask. And if you don't prompt the questions properly, you won't be able to get the answers you seek. And I've already started to answer the questions because I scanned the QR code. And one of the things, it is actually very important to teach the members of parliament what questions to ask your AI to be able to get the answers that you seek. So, Madam Chair Lady, I am not crazy, and I could read from my questions that I asked to General Affairs. Question 17, 18 were not in the document. ECYS, question 35, 37, 39, 40, 50, 55, 56 from VSR, 43, 44, 45, 46, 48, 49 from VSR, 110. VRAMI, 163, 167, 168, 170, 171 are just a few of those. Madam Chair Lady, my faction is now going over these questions with the acting SG from Parliament. And before I make a decision, and what I am asking for is, Madam Chair Lady, if we could get a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour time, that everyone could go through this and make sure that their questions are in. Again, 1 hour max should be enough for everyone. And if I, who ask 1,072 questions, can do it in that time, I think anyone else should be able to do it. And Madam Chair Lady, some might ask for 24 hours and they have all their rights. I asked for 1 hour because I started last night at 12 o'clock. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
We are promoting AI, etc., and I also believe in using AI. But using AI does not negate the human aspect of it. AI hallucinates, it makes mistakes, and I'm not going to be governed by AI. It does help. But Madam Chair, you know what's even more interesting is last week, a lot of these members of the coalition, of your coalition, they were adamant about efficiency and how much we want to be efficient, and yourself and Peter Weaver and a few others even mentioned about asking better questions, right, and etc. But now we have the same faction of the USM that's talking about AI, right, asking questions like, how many vacancies we have in the budget, and then 2 questions later, answering their own questions. That's inefficient, right? So when you have an MP talking about using AI for efficiency, I would say use an example yourself. Another question about do we as Parliament have to bring any legislation for revenue-generating measures? The budget itself says there's no new policy, so there's no new revenue-generating measures and no new legislation. So again, I appreciate when MPs could talk about AI and the use of AI and how we should use it, but then be an example yourself. Be efficient yourself. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Actually, members of Parliament, it was not the intention that we have a debate here this afternoon. The only question that factions are asked to answer, and which I've heard some factions say, is that we submitted in writing questions to you, to us here, and they are not reflected in the document. That's what we came here to understand. If they are reflected, the request is that we ratify this report of questions. And I stress it because the impression is being created that we have information from the government that we are rushing through and not handling. The only thing this committee has in front of it today are the compilation of the questions by the factions and members of Parliament. That's what we have before us. And some members have been able to already do a deep dive into all of the questions, it would seem. Given that, and the request for at least an hour to determine whether questions were omitted by members of Parliament, if that is what this committee desire, I have absolutely no problem with it. And we could do that because already in hearing some of the questions of which it is being said were omitted, it appears not to be the case.
SXM Daily News, an interview with Louis Mussington, president of the Collectivity of Saint Martin. Junior high school is to give the students about their everyday, but at least their parents, the general population, and the last scale. The opportunity to visit the high school and to see exactly where the money goes and how the money has been spent. The project has a total cost of $44 million. It was argued that it is a collage that started during Simpson's whole administration time. I want to refute that delicious information in the sense that they did not do anything other than use their mouth, but we did weekend ceremony during April 2023. Let's say 1 year after we got paid, so I already had in store as a plan or whatever. We disregarded that because of a lot of important aspects. Sounds like making this one of the most modern and digitized high schools in France. We were not taken into account. As I said, we moved whatever they had, like a plan, and we started over, said Louis Mussington.
Of this junior high school is to give the students, well, they are here every day, but at least their parents and the general population in a large scale, the opportunity to visit this high school and to see exactly where the money and how the money have been spent. This project cost the collectivity 44 million euros. And it was argued that it is a college that started since in the whole administration time. I want to refute that fallacious information in the sense that they did nothing other than run their mouth. But we did the groundbreaking ceremony during the month of April in 2023, let's say 1 year after we got here. So all what they had in store as a plan or whatever, we disregarded that because a lot of important aspect in terms of making this college one of the most modern and digitalized high school in the nation of France, they were not taken into account. So that's why I said we removed whatever they had like planned and we started over new. And again, the purpose of today is for people to come, visit, and see what is it we have been able to produce over the 4.5 years now that we are in office. And most importantly, to let them know how much has been spent. Why we spend so much money is because we want to give the best to the young high schoolers that are frequenting on a yearly basis this establishment. They deserve nothing than the best, so we made it our duty to provide the best for them. It was not always an easy task, but because this is what we wanted, there were times when we had to tighten our belt a bit and come up with what we felt was necessary. The choices, important choices that had to be made because, again, 44 million euros is has serious consequences on your budget. Of course, we have gotten subsidies from state and also Europe. But you must know that in this system, you have to first spend the money and then you will be reimbursed by these entities. So while you're waiting on that, if you don't have the means in terms of securing a bank loan here and there, nothing will happen, okay? So this is what I am proud of today as one of our first achievements in terms of level. When you look at the level of investment, it's a great achievement for this collectivity. And I just want to make sure that the teaching staff make full use of this event, of this structure, and that, like I said, everything is digitalized, and that they train the children properly and going into this new method, this new modern way of working. That to me is of key importance, and I trust that all will go well. I hope too that you'll get the best of teachers, professors in this high school that will propel the students forward. What is important to mention is that there won't be any shortage of classroom over here because it's a 9-seater class establishment, and there's space, there's room for all the students who are interested, who are appointed to this school. And finally, I want to conclude by saying that I thank the architects, the engineers, and the whole Simsamal crew who worked diligently and tirelessly to bring this college to this high school to what it is today. So I'm hoping that we will make full use of it, and that out of this college you'll have young, great minds that will be able to travel abroad and come back and to make their valuable contribution to the advancement of this country and its people.
Now, I also understand during the tour that there's other schools that's building in different districts. Can you share that with us?
Well, what we are doing is similar to what is happening here. We are doing the same thing in Finch Quarter, where we have renovated completely the secondary high school over there as well. But they got some delayed in terms of the whole operation, so we will have to reschedule a previous date or another date when we can have that organized over there as well. Like I said, I just want to add the community to the building in itself so that they could embrace it as their own and protect it so that there won't be any form of vandalism, because everybody will be conscious of the fact that this is our property, this is our tool that is used to build minds, you know, and that's what is so critical for them to know and understand. So that's our effort here, and I'm very pleased and proud to present this college to the entire population of St. Martin. And again, thank you so much for bringing it on your system so that, again, the people would know what is it that we are doing as the government of this country.
The police force of St. Martin, KPSM, remained actively engaged in ensuring public safety during the Bastille Chain Cooler Fete held last evening at the Jocelyn Arnell Festival Village. During the event, police officers responded promptly to a physical altercation involving 4 young men. Officers quickly brought the situation under control and arrested all individuals involved. They were subsequently transported to Phillipsburg Police Station for processing. As a result of their actions and disorderly behavior, all 4 individuals will remain in custody pending further investigation. KPSM also wishes to remind the public that law enforcement officers will maintain a strong presence at public events. Anyone choosing to engage in criminal, violent, or disorderly behavior should expect swift police intervention and appropriate legal consequences. KPSM remains committed to enforcing the law to ensure the safety and security of all. KPSM takes this opportunity to commend and thank its dedicated men and women in uniform for their professionalism, commitment, and tireless efforts in serving and protecting the people of St. Martin and its visitors. Their continued dedication to maintaining public order and public safety is greatly appreciated. The Court of First Instance has sentenced DFH to a total of 6 years' imprisonment in connection with a series of supermarket robberies committed between October 2025 and March 2026. The court found it proven that DFH committed 6 robberies targeting Chinese-owned supermarkets. 2 of the supermarkets were robbed twice during the period covered by the case. On Thursday, July 3, 2026, the court imposed a sentence of 6 years' imprisonment for the offences in this case. In addition, it ordered the enforcement of a previously suspended 2-year prison sentence imposed in December 2024 in connection with an earlier robbery conviction, bringing the total term of imprisonment to 8 years. The court acquitted the defendant of the charge of unlawful weapons possession. According to the judgment, the object used during the robberies was a power drill that resembled a firearm. While the court found that the use of the drill caused the victims to believe they were being threatened with a firearm, it concluded that the object did not constitute a weapon under the relevant criminal provision. In determining the sentence, the court considered the serious nature of the offences and the fear and insecurity experienced by the victims. The court also took into account that the object used was not an actual firearm, although this did not lessen the impact on the victims.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social health insurances.
Continue of the DCOM Special Rank Promotion Ceremony, St. Martin Youth Brigade. Speech by Minister of Education, Melissa Gums, and the founder, St. Martin Youth Brigade, Mrs. Zuleika Peterson.
It might not surprise you all to learn that I actually attend quite a few promotion and graduation ceremonies in this role. And today's Youth Brigade promotion theme is actually my favorite theme thus far. It's a theme that should have been the graduation and promotion theme of every school, every organization, every association, and every entity, actually, in the years leading up to 10-10-10. I say that because two words we've heard very often since then are nation building. But what you've never really heard discussed or stressed upon just as often is the very word that forms the basis of your theme today, discipline. And what I've realized since becoming minister is that when people talk to me about us needing more disciplined youth, they actually mean young people who just do what they're told, by whomever they're told. That is not the concept of discipline that leads to trusted leaders. Because if you do what you're told by just anybody, it means you risk doing what you're told by those who do not have your best interests at heart, nor the best interests of St. Martin. Discipline goes beyond obedience. It speaks to your principles, your values, your integrity, and your character when people are watching, and more importantly, when they are not. It speaks to your ability to commit to what you say you will do, whether it relates to school, your profession, your family, or your community. It speaks to your dedication to being honest in the face of difficult decisions, tough conversations, and hard truths, because your instinct, your thinking, and your discernment guided you to know it was right. That is how discipline makes you a trusted leader, a trusted builder of your community, of your society, and of your nation. I want to commend the St. Martin Youth Brigade for the work they have done. I've been coming to these promotion ceremonies since I was in Parliament, actually, and sometimes recognizing the faces that stay through the progression speaks to your own discipline and commitment as an organization to St. Martin's young people. Thank you for your continued work in our community, and I look forward to seeing it continue and evolve. As Natalie said, Minister of Justice, sorry. Congratulations to you all, and as those before me have said countless times, repeatedly, this is just the first step. To those who are continuing your journey, stick to what you have learned, listen to your coaches, your mentors. That discipline is what's going to take you further, as everyone said, than your talent, and your character, which you build with that discipline, is what's going to help you achieve all your goals in life. Congratulations again, and may you continue to shine as an example to all young people who aspire to be builders of this community and this great country themselves. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today's disciplined youth become tomorrow's trusted leaders. This is our theme for this year. And I repeat, today's disciplined youth become tomorrow's trusted leaders. As protocol has already been established, I extend a pleasant good evening to His Excellency, our distinguished guests, honorable dignitaries, members of the Council of Ministers and Parliament, parents, guardians, management staff, coaches, mentors, supporters, and most importantly, the outstanding young men and women of the St. Martin Youth Brigade. This afternoon, or I should say this evening, we gather not only to celebrate promotions in rank, but also to celebrate growth, discipline, sacrifice, perseverance, and character. Today's ceremony reflects the dedication and commitment of our youth as they continue their journey toward becoming leaders within our community. To every brigade standing before us today, your promotion was not simply awarded, it was earned. Every stripe, every badge, and every new responsibility represents countless hours of training, moments of challenge, acts of service, and the determination to overcome obstacles. You have demonstrated courage, discipline, respect, and resilience, values that continue to define the St. Martin Youth Brigade. And to those who may not have achieved promotion this year, I encourage you not to lose heart. Let this moment motivate you to work harder, remain focused, and continue chasing your dreams. Success is not determined by one setback, but by the determination to keep moving forward. In a world where many young people are confronted with distractions and negative influences, you have chosen a different path. You chose service over selfishness, discipline over disorder, and leadership over complacency. That choice alone deserves recognition and applause. The St. Martin Youth Brigade has become a beacon of hope and opportunity for the youth of our island. Through mentorship, discipline, and community engagement, this organization continues to shape future leaders, law enforcement officers, public and private sector professionals, entrepreneurs, and positive role models within society. To the parents and guardians, thank you. Your encouragement, sacrifices, and unwavering support have helped guide these young people toward excellence. Behind every successful brigadier stands a family that believed in them, motivated them, and stood beside them through every challenge. Now, we just heard these words from the previous speakers. To the coaches and mentors, instructors, and leadership of the Youth Brigade, we thank you for investing your time, patience, wisdom, and energy into building the future of St. Martin youth. Your efforts continue to inspire discipline, confidence, and purpose in the lives of our youth.
SXM Daily News interview with Jocelyn Arnell, author of New Moon for Kwashiba. Well, my book was launched just before. The commemoration of abolition and her friends is May 28th. My focus starts on April 25th, so it was just in time for the celebrations on both sides of the islands. And I find it appropriate to talk about how she backs a person across the bottles and did what she had to do in her time. Informal research is about historical facts on the island. And she brought Toshiba to my attention. And I realized this is quite an interesting personality, and it was important for me to search for it and probably write a story in the best way I could. I tried at least. How long have you been studying this whole thing to make it a reality so that you can make a connection? Well, it took a while. I would say the book, and it said to talk about 3 years because I wrote I had a first draft. You know, when you write, you submit your draft and you write in school. Those are wrong. You have them critically what you did, and between the critics and the feedback. And so it took me about 3 years to get it to the left where I wanted it to be.
The commemoration of abolition on the French side, which is May 28th. My book was launched on April 25th. So it was just in time for the celebrations on both sides. And I find it appropriate to talk about Kwashiba as a person who crossed the borders and did what she had to do in her time. First heard of Kwashiba from someone who does, informal researches about historical facts on the island. And she brought Kwashiba to my attention. And I realized, I said, this is quite an interesting personality, and it was important for me to search further and probably write her story in the best way I could. I tried, at least.
We speak to the former Minister of VSA, Richinel Brugge. I find the show very interesting. When we check in with an empty cup, I'm leaving with it full because I've learned a lot more when it comes to the garden, to slavery, and our ancestors, specifically St. Martin, Dutch, and French. The way that it was presented by Miss Arnell was awesome, actually.
I've learned a lot, actually. One would say I came with an empty cup and I'm leaving with it full because I've learned a lot more when it comes regarding to slavery and our ancestors, specifically St. Martin, both Dutch and French side. The way that it was presented by Miss Arnell was awesome, actually. She read out the book, and while the actors in the back acted out the different scenes, I think they did an awesome job. The combination of also the dancer and also with the blowing of the conch shell, I must commend the organizers, the library, and Miss Arnell for putting such a show together. I think, as she stated, she promotes it mostly on the French side, but I think it would also be a real asset if it's also done, and I'm glad it's here now at Phillipsburg. It's also done on the Dutch side as well, because whether we like it or not, our history are entwined.
Yes, it's a common history.
Correct. So, and the fact that the book, you can see, and she read it out, and I think the content of it is very easily understood. That even the children as young as 4 or 5 can understand what is going on with the scene and with the story itself. So it is something that I would say is for all ages. I am myself going to purchase a book. I heard it's available at AXM.
It is.
It's available at AXM, so I'm going to pass an AXM and purchase at least 2 books, because I have 2 children at home and they don't like to share sometimes. So to avoid any problems, I'll purchase 2 books in order to support as well, and also more importantly so that they would also have knowledge of the St. Martin history firsthand as well.
To say that actually New Moon for Kwashiba is my 3rd book, and I specialize in writing for children. I wrote, my first book was Ignacio and the Mysterious Egg, which was a story for children, and it put in and played two animals, an iguana and who found an egg, and he was walking around trying to find whose egg it was. The second story was written right after Hurricane Irma. That was Ignacio and Chichi Bird, and they were 2 animals, of course, from St. Martin, who were telling their story, how they live out the storm. So it's the second book deals with climate change, it deals with resilience, it deals with trauma, it deals with all what we went through as a people during that time. And this book now, New Moon for Kwashiba, as the former minister said, it is really a book for children and a book for all ages, because what we realized that the topic of slavery is not much mentioned in children's book, and it is a difficult topic to bring about to children. So I try to find a way where I can talk about it without having to go in the brutality of slavery and to have the children address that. Of course, it will come later on in life. They would understand all of that took place, but it's a beginning to first address the topic of history with younger children.
Talking about what you just said, I understood also you teach in one of the schools.
Sure, I'm a teacher.
What do you teach here?
I teach primary school. I specialize in primary education. But every book is a tool, a lesson in itself. So this book is a lesson on slavery, and it is well understood that it is an opportunity for parents to gather children and to talk about the topic of slavery. It is also for teachers who lack material in classroom to address the topic of slavery. So every book is a lesson.
So what is next for you now?
Well, it's so funny that I'm often asked what is next after this book. And I was reading not so long ago in the library on the French side, and the children told me, you have to write Minnie's story, her sister's story. What happened to the sister? So they would want to find out how the sister reached slavery, got out of slavery. And some people also wanted to know how was her life in Anguilla after reaching the shores of Anguilla and reaching freedom in Anguilla. How did she carry out her life in Anguilla? So there's a lot of opportunities to continue the story.
So you got some work to do for the students.
I sure do.
Nice.
Any last word before we close off the interview, two or you?
Well, it was my pleasure. Always a great pleasure sharing my readings and getting seeing the appreciation in my readers' eyes. And it's a learning experience for me because every time interacting with your audience, they bring back elements to you that you didn't necessarily see, and they would point them out to you. So it's a learning experience for me too, and always a pleasure.
Final closing word?
Yeah, for me, definitely, as I stated earlier, I enjoyed the show.
Thank you.
And now learning that you have other books, I am going to also look into those other books.
Very good.
I'm
There
going to
we
look
go.
into those other books as well.
There we go.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you are one of our local authors, and I think that's very important as well, that we support our local authors.
Very good.
And what is really nice about your book and your stories is that it's reality.
It's
a reality, brought in a very simple and comprehensible way. And that I must say I do appreciate that, and I'm sure that the readers will appreciate it as well. So I'm definitely going to be one of your supporters.
Thank you so
in
much.
purchasing
Really
the book.
appreciate. Well, I always try to contextualize my books because there are many books available for children, but how many books are available for our children written by us?
Yes.
And that's what I try to do.
Now for the weather forecast tonight through Tuesday evening. Variably cloudy, hazy, and breezy with isolated showers. Surface winds. Tonight through Tuesday evening, easterly with a gentle to moderate breeze at 10 to 17 Meninamshal and higher gusts possible. Tate of the sea. Slight to moderate waves, east swells 4 to 7 feet. Outlook through Wednesday evening. Partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with light haze and isolated showers. And now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
On Wednesday, July 8th, 2026, the St. Martin Library will host a community reading celebration in support of CLIMB SXM National Literacy Movement during a special staff book recitation and community reading initiative, welcoming the entire St. Martin community to take part in a shared moment of literacy, culture, and connection. Under the national call, Drop Everything and Read Dear, the library invites students, families, businesses, organizations, and community members to pause their daily routines and come together in celebration of the joy and power of reading from 11:05 a.m. to 1:00 p.m. at the St. Martin Library. This year's gathering will also honor the legacy of celebrated St. Martin cultural icon and renowned Caribbean author Lady Ruby Butte through readings from her book, Jouvert. Her work continues to inspire pride, identity, and a deep appreciation for Caribbean storytelling and heritage. The program will be virtually recorded and showcased live, supporting the vision of establishing Dear as an annual national tradition where the entire island unites to celebrate literacy and the importance of reading. This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.